Hello, wavy friend, and welcome to my studio here in Dallas, Texas. This is where the wavy magic happens, and I'm here today to talk about my latest class, Dry Air, Dry Hair. So, Dry Air, Dry Hair is not primarily a winter class, although I did originally name it Winter Waves because I was sort of thinking about my own surroundings and what my clients here locally deal with this time of year if it's wintertime when you're watching this. But the truth is that dry hair can happen any time of year, regardless of whether the air is actually dry. So the learnings in this class, I really think can apply more than just to a dry time of year or just dry circumstances, whether you live in a high desert or any kind of desert or somewhere where it's always really dry. So a couple of things. Number one, before I share the interview that I did with Hairstory, which is what this little intro is for, I did a talk with Hairstory about this class and about hydrating hair, moisturizing hair that I think you'll find really helpful. But first, I wanted you to know about the frizz quiz that I created. So the link is down below. It's pretty cool. Find out what kind of buildup you have and what's causing the buildup. Dry hair can be a major cause of buildup, but dry hair can also be caused by a lot of other things like buildup, like your environment, like not using enough product, like not using conditioner, like skipping leave-in. There are lots of reasons that you could have dry hair and lots of reasons you could have frizz. So if that sounds like something fun for you to do, I wanted to make it fun. Hair should always be fun. Check out that link below for my frizz quiz. Second, I do have a discount available on this class. I don't share it far and wide, but since you are watching my YouTube video, 25% off dry air, dry hair, and that code is dry air 25. So snag this class for like $66 and some change rather than the sticker price of $89, and I hope you enjoy. I will be doing workshops from time to time for this class just to dive into what your pain points are, what your learnings are as you're experimenting, as you're doing some product swaps. There are worksheets in the workbook that will help you not only just learn by reading and by listening, but also by doing and trying new things and figure out what works well for you. Without any further ado, let's dive into the interview with Hairstory, and I'll see you at the end of the interview.
Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome. We're gonna start getting some waves ready with this weather change that is
Yes.
happening. And we were talking earlier, I mean, it's getting wild all over the place. So even for some of y'all that maybe earlier in the season were like, that don't pertain to me. It might pertain to you now. Like you may be getting winter and you didn't know it. So
It's only gonna get colder.
exactly, exactly. So before we begin, y'all, for everyone that has never joined one of these classes before, I want to give you a little bit of a breakdown about how this is all going to go today. Number one, I will, once we get all started, I'm going to get my mug off of here and we're going to really focus in on Allison. She's going to kind of give a couple tips on how to really kind of work this out. You can throw up any questions into this chat and I will bubble them up to Allison. And I also wanted to kind of let you all know that at the left side, what you're going to be seeing is this. There are a couple things that I just want to highlight so that you guys know that they are available for y'all. Number one, let's start with if you're not following Allison on IG, I have highlighted that here. So make sure that that's happening. Allison is a wealth of knowledge and there's a ton of classes. So we have all of the classes here that are available for the Wavy Life. Come on now. And then if you are a hairdresser, meaning that you do hair on other folks, right? For a living, then you can go ahead and you're curious about Hairstory, then go ahead and just press the Join Hairstory Pro. This is going to be your link through Allison to connect with somebody at Hairstory just to kind of find out if it's going to be right for you. So that one is definitely going to be awesome. Now, if you are not a hairdresser and you only do your own hair, and maybe some friends and family, then what you want to connect to is you want to hit Allison's first time client discount if you've never tried Hairstory before. So if some of these products speak to you and you're like, that sounds like me and that's right, then you might as well enjoy a good old hookup on them, okay? And then last but not least, and this is what we're all here for today, this class, this full in-depth, like knowledge packed class is also available for you all to get a much deeper dive than what we can cover in here today, which is the air dry hair class that is live and available for y'all. So I have highlighted that. And now, without further ado, now that we've done all that housekeeping, let's get down to the real keeping of some hair. So Allison, let's talk about it because I am so excited about
It's been
this.
dry. It's been real dry, Wes.
Uh-huh. It's been dry.
It's been as I reach for my water,
Yes, exactly.
my
And what I
dog's water.
love, I mean, like, this is the thing, like, I feel like this is what's so hard because I think I hear this all the time. I think people learn how to kind of work with their wavy, curly hair, and then a season changes and they're like, "Dang, I literally just learned how to do this, and everything that I feel like I was doing before is not working, and I don't know why." And it's a big pain point for
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Um, because they're like, I just want it to be this thing, and it's now I learned how to do this thing, and now that's gone, and I'm really confused. And it's kind of that thing where waves and curls can kind of change, almost on a daily, but definitely seasonally. And it, oof, oof, oof,
I
girl.
would say that even straight hair though can. I
Mhm.
think that we don't really often think about how much the hair on our heads interacts with the water that we can't see in the
Yeah,
air all around us all the time. I remember, as I'm sure many of my wavy friends on here do too, when we all, if we're of a certain age, used to straighten our hair, blowing it out, straightening it with the straightening iron, all that kind of stuff. And you'd have days where it'd be like real flat. And you'd be like, what did I do wrong today? And then days when it would be like still straight, but voluminous and like flowy. It was still the weather. It was still the weather. Okay. You just see it more because you're paying more attention to your hair now, like at this point in time. So, with all that said,
yeah,
yeah, I think that when we're paying a lot of attention to our hair and we expect it to be exactly the same every single day, and then the weather shifts, we're like, man, what did I do wrong? But this here's a good shortcut for you before I dive into this baby right here. Something really cool to note is that the most extreme of winter and the most extreme of summer are really pretty much the same when it comes to how to care for your hair in terms of what kind of products I'm going to use and how I'm going to do things differently. Because there's either so much water in the environment that you need to guard against it, or there's so little that you need to preserve what's already in your hair.
okay,
Okay. But in
very
wintertime, maybe all you do is like you put on more layers, you wear sleeves, you wear a jacket, you wear a scarf. That's your extra layer. Maybe in the wintertime, you just add a layer. You add a cream under your gel. I mean, I've said it a million times on my YouTube channel, which I have also. That's Real Life Curly Girl on YouTube. I'm trying to do more with that channel. But I think it's really important to remember that those two seasons, you really treat your hair kind of the same. You
mhm,
just add a layer. But when you've got fall and spring, those two seasons are more temperate. You can get away with a lot more. That's when things, the amount of water, at least for me here in Texas. I know seasonally it's different for different people in different
yeah,
parts of the world, but we have those same seasons that do reflect each other on opposite sides of the year.
yep.
So it's a more temperate season for sure. You can get away with more because that balance between the amount of water in your hair and the amount of water in the air is pretty equalized naturally.
That is awesome. I mean, and it's awesome to put it in this kind of framework that I think makes sense, because I think that's also the struggle too, is just being like not knowing what path to kind of go on. And when you think about that, being like, well, it's winter, so you can add more because you're doing it already in
I
everywhere else,
Yes,
right?
yes. And I'll tell you what, okay, I told you this earlier when we were chit-chatting, but I haven't shared with our audience yet. I did that exact experiment today. I had thought about this last week. I was like, ooh, I'm going to demonstrate on my own head
Yep.
you guys might be noticing that one side looks better than the other. I feel like I want a little vote. Like y'all chime in here with Wes. And Wes, you're gonna have to tally these up real fast.
Exactly. Maybe
Which
I'll tell
side,
Paul.
which side looks better? Is it this side? Okay. I hate to use the term better, but different, okay? Or is it this side? What's the side that looks more hydrated is what we'll call it. What's the
Let's
side that looks more
see.
hydrated? Anybody wanna chat?
I'm
I'll
gonna
I'll I'll give it away, but you let me know what everybody's saying. I'm really curious to hear what people think. I did my dry dry hair routine this morning. Didn't take any extra time. I did them at the same time. It was a little complicated trying to keep my hair separate from each other. But I did this side, I did all the things. On this side, I did none of the things that I would recommend doing in here. So this class just came out on Friday. I filmed this in December. I've been playing with this forever, and I'm really excited. I was calling it Winter Waves, as many of my friends know, but I didn't want to pigeonhole it after I had filmed it. And I say Winter Waves in the video itself several times because that was still the name in my head. But after I was putting the final touches on this, I was like, if I limit this, I'm limiting a lot of people from this knowledge because this is really just about if you live in a high desert, if you live in a low desert, if you live in any place at all that is drier, you need to choose probably about 5 layers of hydration protection from this workbook, but we're going to go over like 1 or 2 of those today because I think that we don't have a lot of time and I know we'll have some questions and I want to be sure I get to all of those. So in this book, these are the 4 categories of areas that I have put together for this. It's really all about hydration. It's about conditioners. It's about styling swaps and a few other miscellaneous areas of cold or dry weather protection. So we're really going to talk about styling swaps today. And these areas do bleed into each other to some degree. But what I think is really, really important is let's talk about what I did today. What did I do well for this side? This is going to give me longevity for like
mm,
3 more days. I might not love it by the 3rd day, but it's not going to look as dry and parched as this side is going to. And
mm.
Teresa has already said the right side is the one. You're
Yep.
right, Teresa. Well done. So my right side, actually, I'm going to tell you my left side first, and then I want y'all to be thinking about what I did on my right side because I'm like I want to quiz everybody today. I think this is really important, and for the hairdressers watching too, this is essential because you guys are the ones that are saying to your clients, hey, the season has changed. I want you to know, like, this is coming, like, plan ahead. I'm horrible at planning ahead. I'm horrible at planning for the future. It sneaks up on me. And then I'm like, oh, shit, it's here. I have to do something different now. So when that happens, I'm a little behind the 8 ball, but I'm telling all these hairdressers now, it's going to start getting cold outside. If you've got clients starting tomorrow, start telling them, hey, February is going to suck for your clients that are not using a cream under
Yeah.
their gel. So that's number 1. But here's what I did here. On my left side, I grabbed the nasty like Paul Mitchell volumizing shampoo that comes in a jug like this size out of my husband's shower. And I just said, okay. And I scrubbed that in this side and I rinsed it out. And it was so squeaky. And it was so squeaky. It was so squeaky, Wes. And then I ran my fingers through it and I got a whole lot of tangles. And
Yep.
then I couldn't just leave it because I'm not a bad person. And so I grabbed my InnerSense. This is my Pure Inspiration Daily Conditioner. I like to use this as a rinse out. I'm sorry, a rinse out conditioner is what it's designed to be. I like to use it as a leave-in conditioner because I think it's lightweight enough for that. But it's what I had in the shower. So that's what I used as my rinse out conditioner on this side. So this got a pump of that. And I was like, oh, thank God the tangles came out. And then I clipped that up. And then I said, okay, let's work on this side. Oh, I'm so sorry. My allergies killing me today. Something blew in from Colorado. Okay. On this side, I went with Hairstory New Wash Original is my favorite. If you're already using this and you're like, my hair is still dry, try the rich version this time of year. I beg of you. Like that is what I would say. Reach for that because um, it might just not be enough. Your hair might just be thirstier than mine is, but we'll get there. So I used this morning. By the way, this does come in two sizes. This is your 8-ounce size. This is my new client says, yes, I'm going to take this. I'm going to try it. And it comes in a 20-ounce size. And this is all of my clients that go, I already love it. It's
Yeah.
changed my hair. Give me the big baby. And they put it in something like this, which this is new from Hairstory. And I'm freaking obsessed with it
So good.
because look at how careful I don't have to be when I'm refilling it.
Yep.
Trying to be careful when refilling a bottle is like the worst thing in the world. So anyway, a few things there. So this is I have to go, which side was it? This was my shampoo conditioner side. This is in the shower. This is this side. Put this in, clip them up, and then as I tell everybody to do, bathe, shave, sing a song. Conditioner works better when it has time to work. This is a fun lesson I get to teach like the kids that come see me, the teenage girls who haven't had any help in the shower in a real long time, and they're just figuring it out. Leave it, let it sit. Okay, so I did that, bathe, shave, sing a song, and I rinsed both sides out. And I could tell an immediate difference which side felt better. It's okay. I'm just going to say it. It was this one. I rinsed it out, and then I used a little bit of the Pure Inspiration Daily Conditioner on this side and none on this side. So this side did not get a leave-in conditioner today. This side did. So when we talk about product swaps and when the weather changes and what to do a little bit differently, if you aren't using a leave-in conditioner, that is one of the first things I would say, do that. If you're not doing that and there's only one thing that you change, that would be the thing that I would change. 100%. Next, I got out of the shower and I put my little turby twist thing on and got dressed real quick, did a little face stuff, maybe 5 minutes, took that down. And then this side had a little styling cream pumped in it. It was not hair balm. It was something else. It's just something thin. Scrunch that in. This side got dampened with water from the tap, almost like a refresh. And it had, does anybody want to guess what I used today? Anybody? This is my favorite winter combo. This is Hairstory Hair Balm and Jessie Curl Spiralicious. These two are like made for each other in my salon. This is my favorite that I use on everybody. So this is in the dry hair class for sure. I used about a pump of hair balm, smoothed across, scrunched in, some Jessie Curl Spiralicious, and I want to talk to you guys about quantities. Wes, tell me about quantities in your world. Like, what do you counsel people on the most?
I think the thing is I find that oftentimes people don't, it depends upon your relationship. So this is the thing that I always say. Um, I find that people who struggle a lot are people who are my people, which when I had hair, I used to call it cat fur. And when you're a cat fur person, meaning you got fine hair, what happens is we're adverse to cream. We are very adverse. Like we are like I've had to convince people, you need to use this amount of new wash, which is creamy, and they're like, no, boo, I can't because that's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna be flat the whole 9 yards. I found that, and then I found the same thing with hair balm. So people who have that relationship with cream that's like that makes me flat, it makes me not good, like all of
Yeah,
that. I had to train them to use the right amount um,
totally.
those areas. And then I've also had people that I think are maybe like that can overdo it a little bit too because they just love a cream. They've just been like, I'm really thirsty all the time, and it's boom, 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 boom. And I find that sometimes when I swap them over to the new wash, I need them to assess a little bit differently. It's not shampooed hair. So knowing that right amount that's what I would say. I would say it's the relationship that I have what you have with the relationship with cream, first of all.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, totally. And even on my YouTube channel, I did a video about Hairstory not too long ago, and a number of people, one in particular, was like, "Oh, hair balm is too fine for." I'm a hairdresser, and hair balm is too much for fine hair, and I was like, hardcore disagree. Like we can agree to disagree all day long, and that's totally cool. But it's all about quantity. Like the formulation of this is good for everybody, literally everybody. My coarse haired clients with the real thick strands, my fine haired clients with not as much hair.
Yes.
It's not
It's
weighing down. It also matters where you apply it.
Yep, for sure, for sure.
And what do I mean by where? Like, ears down is sort of like the phrase that I use all the time. I'm sure I sound like a broken record, but for my fine-haired people, like, take some of that on your wet hair, and it's like the top of your ear down. Whatever's left, cascade it up a little bit. My coarse-haired clients, my clients with a ton of hair, with really curly hair, oh, from the top all day long. But
So
like but I'm with you. So this is a great foundation to help keep all that moisture. And that's why this side is shinier. That's why
yeah,
this side is more defined. And also, there's a gel on this side. And in the world of wavies, and I keep waiting for Hairstory to come out with a gel, and I know that it's in your heart. I know it's coming. I'm
that's
going to
right.
keep on talking about it one day.
Funny.
Spiralicious is where it's at for now. And this is a really budget friendly gel, but this is a cream gel. So it's kind of like you're doubling up on your cream,
Okay,
but this has also got some really good ingredients in it. I love this one. It's got an ingredient called polyquaternium 69, which is a fabulous frizz fighter. Steal it for your gel. It's a
okay.
fabulous frizz fighter. And it's a great curl enhancer too. So for us wavies that want to enhance, that want to add a little bit of bounce and spring, it's wonderful for those things. So these two together make a wash day that is shiny, that is defined, and that is possible to revive back to life on another day or two, or if we're lucky, even three, even when it's cold outside. And I talk till I'm blue in the face about my refresh routine. So I think everybody on here knows about that. And if they don't, go follow me on Instagram. I've got a video on it. And I didn't even tell you. I didn't even tell you. Did you know that I made a frizz quiz?
No?
Yes.
Love
I'm
it.
so excited about it. I'm so excited about it. Okay. If you go to my website, you should go. Not
Okay,
that you need it, but it'll be fun for you. Okay.
yeah,
So it's AlysonLupo.com is my new website. I've got a lot of new right now. So this frizz quiz came to me in the middle of the night, and I was like, I gotta do this. And so there are really three categories, I think, of frizzy hair. So when you take this quiz, it'll tell you your results. And then you'll get an email from me after that, and you can download. I created this other thing. It's a frizz flow chart. So it tells you it's so rad. I'm so excited about it. So you select whether you have frizz on your wash day or your refresh day. And then it walks you through the steps of what you should do, and it walks you around. And then if that didn't work, you go back here and you do this again. And there are links to a curated list of products on Amazon or products elsewhere and classes that will help them to achieve beyond frizz. So
I
it's super
love
cool.
it.
It's super cool. So anyway, the three buckets of frizz are dry hair frizz, not enough product frizz, or buildup frizz.
Okay.
Most everybody fell into not enough product. So that's the other thing I want to talk about on
Mm,
here. Besides just your product swaps, adding in a cream, using a cleansing conditioner over a shampoo. And if cleansing conditioners are not for you, or you're afraid to get into that, and I'll rewind here in a second back to what we were talking to. I'll circle back. Inner Sense hydrating hair bath and hydrating conditioner are fabulous options, I think, for someone who wants to ease into a cleansing conditioner. Now,
mm,
I've had a lot of clients that just jump in with both feet and they don't have a problem. And I think that most people are that way. But if you are especially nervous about those things, start with something that's a less cleansing shampoo. I don't even want to say less cleansing, a less
yeah,
stripping shampoo. Because really, like, when I do wash my hair with new wash, it's still got a squeak to it. It's still got a little, it wasn't like this, where it was like, what? And
right.
there's a different sound. There's a different sound to the squeak there. But I think that switching to a cleansing conditioner is really important. And for me, it has allowed me to have, even in dry weather, fewer products in my shower. It's
Mhm,
allowed me to have I used to post pictures on my Instagram, and all the wavies would do this. Post a picture of your shower shelf and like overflowing this and around the sides of the tub and on the floor. And now it's not like that anymore. I don't post those pictures anymore because they don't exist for me. There's
right.
clarity. The overwhelm is gone. It's magical.
Yep. I
It's
love that.
me. And I honestly, I do deep condition from time to time, but I do it a lot less. And I still get this on a day
just surviving a week where the temperature was -1, the
Mhm.
humidity was like, I mean, it was super, super dry. So, I thought it might be fun to talk about quantities since we were just talking about how that can be difficult for some people. So I thought we'd do like a little show and tell.
I love that. I
Okay.
love it. And we do
Okay.
have some questions too that I wanna throw out here
Let's
too.
let's do that and then we'll talk quantities.
Yeah, because would Inner Sense leave-in conditioner be enough for the dry air? Is the question.
Oh, are they asking specifically about Sweet Spirit?
There is an additional question, could you also add Sweet Spirit? Was
Okay.
another question that we had.
I saw that one. The only thing I love Sweet Spirit. What I love about it is that it's got an incredibly low, I'm going to get a little sciencey, so don't be scared, all of the people. It's got an incredibly low pH. I want to say the pH of that, when I've tested it on my own strips here, is about 3.5, which is very acidic. So when that mixes with the water on your hair that runs at a pH of about 7, it kind of goes right to where it needs to be for the happy place on your hair, which is magical. However, it's so thin and so runny, and the delivery system is a spray top. And so when you're spraying it in your hand, you're just kind of getting this, you never really get enough. Like, I really want to have a pump, but still it's so thin, it really disappears into the hair. Now, for a really fine hair, like true fine hair, like it's made of bird feathers, fine hair, wavy, curly person, even someone with straight hair, that would be a fantastic leave-in conditioner. It's fine. I am really liking this time of year. My product swap, though, is to say pure. Now, this is formulated by InnerSense as a rinse out conditioner. I'm using it as a leave in conditioner, and I've been playing, excuse me, with that more and more. Especially the drier it is outside, I want something a little bit richer. And so, this is what I've been personally reaching for and playing with on my clients. And I've really been liking it because I never felt like it was enough as a rinse out conditioner. Maybe for my finest of fine clients, but for most people, I feel like they need to step it up. If they're going to use a rinse out conditioner that's not a new wash, they need to step it up to something like the color or the hydrating from InnerSense. Those are the favorites. I'm really picky about conditioners, so those are my favorites for conditioning.
I love it.
Did I answer the question? I hope I did.
Yeah, I think you did for sure.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
what would we do in terms of like what's going to be the right amount and what's going to be the right amount that's going to get you to the finish line? And by the finish line, what I really mean is this is I think sometimes we think too much about what's happening today, which I understand is important. But what you talk about a lot is you talk about like you're not just concerned with today, you're setting yourself up for success so that you have 3 days
Because
of
I'm
really
lazy.
awesome hair.
I don't want to do my hair 3 days in a row.
Yeah,
Nobody does.
no.
Nobody wants to do that, except for my mom, who does her hair like twice a day. But she's insane.
What's your mama's name?
Susan.
God bless Susan. I
I
love
love Susan. I'm
Susan.
pretty sure my cousin Lindsay's on here, so Lindsay knows. Lindsay told me she was going to jump on today. So Lindsay, Susan got to wash her hair twice a day. Bless her heart.
Oh,
So yes, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. So not that's but that's not important to everybody. So for Susan, it is not important to have longevity in her style. She does not care. She's gonna watch, and if that's okay for you, that's fine. I'm I take pretty frequent showers, but like my mom thinks I'm dirty like Brad Pitt because I wash my hair like twice a week. He's handsome, but we know he's dirty. It's fine. So, like, I like to set myself up for multiple days of success because, like, I'm going to take a little bit of water and a little bit of conditioner tomorrow, and that's going to be my refresh, and it's going to come back to life. And if it's a little flat here, I'm going to pin it. Like, I'm going to come up with some ways to, like, have it look like it's still shiny and full of life. But that's not only just getting me the results of a look, it's also making sure that on a day that I don't want to do the most, my hair really looks pretty good. Like
exactly.
this is hair that's well taken care of because it's hydrated and moisturized. And those are two different things, but it's
Mhm.
hydrated and moisturized on almost a daily basis. Now, your refresh doesn't mean you got to get soaked. So I just want to clarify that. But
And we did actually I really because I think, like, what does that mean when you say that what when you say those are 2 separate things? Because I think that can be confusing to folks.
thank you for asking me that. That's a good question. So I how do I want to phrase this? It depends. Okay. It depends on what a person wants as their finished look. If they are really, if they're the wavy who's really only happy with that wash day look, that
Mm,
means that they're someone who really prefers the look of hair that's gotten wet all over, product all over, like soaked through, new product, new style. They really want that every day, but they feel like they're not allowed to cleanse every day. I got news for you. You can wash your hair every day, but this is going to be the way to do it.
right.
And I haven't gotten Susan on board with this yet. She's still using Win, but I'm trying to make her see the light.
Love Susan.
So I feel like um, as your relationship with your hair changes over the course of weeks, months, years, however that works for you, like whenever you look in the mirror and you see this is my refresh day. If this was my refresh day, I would really be pretty happy with this.
Right.
But I would know if I want a little bit more definition, I can dampen it and I can
Mm,
do a little bit of conditioner. I can do maybe a little bit of cream, and I've got something that looks a little bit more like this without having to get my whole head soaked. So that's the difference I'm talking about. If you can be happy with hair that is not wash day perfect, but it's
mm,
a little bit different. Remember that wavy hair is going to change a little bit every day. When you're wavy, you wake up with straighter hair than someone who's curly who slept on it all night. We
yep.
don't have as much spring there. So you just have to sort of figure out what it is that you're trying to achieve and what it is that you can truly be happy with.
And then also I do want to I have a question just to kind of clarify a couple things because, you know, when you say because there's two products here that we're like mainly there's two products that we're kind of focusing in on. I mean, they're all important, right? But we're thinking like we're talking about kind of like a leave-in, and then on top of your leave-in, you're adding a cream and a gel. And so I guess the question that I would have if I had wavy hair, I'd be like, I would be a little confused about why you would have your leave-in conditioner plus a cream. Would you just have something that was kind of in the middle of those two worlds and wouldn't it be one product? Or why is two in that space more important than one that's a little heavier? Or how does that all work when we're
I get
dealing
that
with
question all the time. I get that question all the time. I think it's an important one. I'm going to try to speak to this as intelligently as I can, knowing that so much of it also is just a feel. Okay.
Mm, mhm,
So, in terms of how products like these are different, conditioners are generally formulated to have a lower pH. So, they're going to shut that hair cuticle down a lot more. And when that hair cuticle, I want you guys to imagine if you've ever heard Lorraine Massey, the Diva Curl guru, talk about this at all. She talks about a closed pine cone versus an open pine cone. Okay. So,
mhm,
what your hair cuticle looks like and when it is really shiny is when that cuticle, when that pine cone look is closed, all those scales are just sealed up against each other. That's when you've got shine and reflectivity. But it is possible, and shampoo and cleansers, any cleanser is formulated to open up even water. Water has a higher pH than your hair. All these things open up your cuticle just a little bit and they allow good ingredients to penetrate your hair shaft.
yeah.
So when that happens, what I'm able to do with conditioner that has a lower pH is close that cuticle, close the door, and keep all the hot air in. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Now my
yeah,
house is not cold, right?
yeah,
But when I can
exactly.
close down the cuticle, the tangles melt away because the cuticle is closed. It's
Mm,
that open pine cone is not tangling with a whole bunch of other hair here. It's all closed. And, oh, okay, now we have the ability to really get out tangles. It just makes hair softer and it
mm,
lasts longer that way. Styling products have a function, they have a
mm,
muscle. Okay. So here we have something that's got a low pH that closes the door, that keeps the water in. This is helping you with hydration and
oh,
moisture because it's making
yeah.
the hair more pliable. This is helping the hair be more pliable. It's also another layer. This is my jacket, right?
Mm,
So I would do this day in and day out, no matter the season. Maybe in the hottest part of summer, I might not use a styling cream because I don't need another layer because there's so much moisture in the air. There's an abundance. I don't
Right.
need something to keep it all in. I want to keep the hydration in, but maybe I don't need as much. I don't need a scarf.
Okay.
Does that
Cool.
make sense? So
Very
this gives you a little more muscle. This gives you actual style. It does give you some pliability. It does give you more, but I think this is a really, really important first step. When you skip this, you just don't get as much out of your styling products. I don't even think of this as a styling product. I think of a leave-in conditioner as part of your shower routine.
okay.
It's shampoo, cleanser. I mean, it's shampoo, conditioner, leave-in conditioner.
Yep.
Sorry if
And are
that
you,
was too.
and then also I do have a question too, because a lot of times when we talk about kind of that slip and like all that, all these things, if you're talking about kind of like a leave-in, what are your feelings, even though you're kind of taking like a you're taking this actual conditioner, you're taking a rinse out and turn it into a leave-in. And so in that situation, a lot of times, conditioners have silicones in them. Is that a no-no in this case? What are your thoughts and feelings on that?
I don't even talk about that anymore because I just feel like I was talked about it so much. So I appreciate you reminding me about that. I generally try to avoid silicones for the most part. I don't feel like they're all horrible. There's one in particular called MO dimethicone that I don't dislike. It doesn't build up on itself. It doesn't build up on the hair, from what I understand. And again, I'm not a formulator and I'm not a scientist. I just aspire to be. So I study these things because they're fun for me. I've literally got my computer here balanced on the Science of Hair Care Second Edition and Halal's Hair Structure and Chemistry Simplified Fifth Edition.
Nice. Just that light reading, y'all.
I love these books. Like I treasure them. I like go through them. I look at the pictures. Like I really, truly love this stuff. And
Yep,
maybe one day I'll have something of my own. But I don't know. For right now, I just love studying this stuff, and I love knowing why things work.
yep,
So I like that particular silicone because, from what I understand about it, it doesn't build up on the hair and it doesn't build up on itself, which is different from the regular old dimethicone,
yep,
which is like the big baddie dimethicone that I really try to avoid because it's like it's similar to putting a layer of plastic on your hair, and what that does, it might make your hair feel really soft and pliable from the get-go, and you feel like it's keeping moisture in, but it's also not allowing your hair to interact with the water that's in the air, and that's
right,
really important for hydration when it comes to your hair. So um, that's one that I generally avoid. And others, I find that I don't really need them. We actually have enough advanced ingredients in a lot of hair care products now that take the place and do what silicones used to be the only ingredient that could do that. It could be the only ingredient that added shine. It could be
mhm,
the only ingredient that made your hair feel slippery and soft. And this is not the 1960s anymore. Like we hair care products and technology has come such a long way that different silicones do different things and other ingredients do things that silicones used to do.
I love that. I love that. And it's also I like too that what I love about the level of research that you do is that it's not like broad sweeps, meaning, I think sometimes we latch on to words and put them all in one similar category, and that's not always true in every single space, and I think we've got
Totally.
to be conscious of all of those things. So I love hearing that from you
Thank
that
you. And
uh,
you know what, Wes, there are people who like swear by silicones working for them.
oh yeah.
Then that's great.
Yeah.
I
This
will
is
not tell you that's a terrible idea. Now, if I start to see your hair drying out and act in a
yeah,
certain kind of way, I might say, maybe let's skip that for a while and see what happens.
totally. Totally.
Yeah, wait and
No,
see. Yeah.
I love it. This is like and this to me is just all kind of starting to really, really make sense. Do you feel like you did mention something that I think that we should also bring up too, that you mentioned moisture and hydration? And I think that gets very confusing to a lot of space because we're talking to all the folks out there and I love all of them. And I want to make sure that like our newest person in the room, our newest person in the space that's like, I have wavy hair, or, you know, I've cut people's hair and they're like, I didn't know my hair was wavy. Like, You're like, oh wow, this is cool.
That's the thing. Okay, like that's the thing that gets me going, Wes, is because all
Mm,
of us who grew up in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, were all told that we had frizzy hair
yeah.
by at some point in time because it wasn't curly and it did things that naturally straight hair did not do. What a label to put on a teenage girl.
Yeah. Mm.
That makes me mad. That triggers me. I'm
Yeah.
triggered.
Yes. Well, no, I mean it sucks, right? Like it's also the thing is understanding I think also there's a different time period where people were really feeling like it's about I would say we're in a mental space now where it is less about control and more about encouragement.
Yeah, less about forcing something to be
Yeah.
another thing.
And so I think that A, when that's like in our atmosphere, number one, we can go, okay, cool. Like you have this thing. And then also learning how to use it is like not also trying to like force it into, wield it into this thing. It's about setting it up with the things that it needs to be successful for the longest period of time. That's what I'm getting from you.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And so when we talk to circle back about like moisture and hydration, like
Mhm.
these are like basic sciencey terms. We know that hydration starts with hydro. Hydro is like a prefix for water, right? So we're talking about really driving water into the hair, like really getting the hair wet. And
Yep.
then we want to keep it there. And
Yep.
that's where like moisturizing ingredients come in at that point in time. So like if I pick up a bag here and I look at the things that you've got in here, um, I mean, you've got evening primrose oil, you've got jojoba seed oil, you've got panthenol, you've got I mean, so many beautiful oils without putting oil directly on the hair, rather using oil to like um, Korean cleansing, skincare cleansing methodology, oil removes oil kind
Yep.
of method. So beautiful. You've got hydrolyzed keratin in here. It's going to strengthen the hair. You've got behentrimonium methosulfate. That's one of my favorite moisturizing ingredients. That's a wonderful conditioning ingredient that's really going to help to hold the water in the hair. So when we talk about hydrating the hair and moisturizing the hair, of course, it's confusing because they bleed together. You
Mhm.
can't moisturize the hair without hydrating the hair. You can't just put an oil on dry hair and hope for the best. You
Right.
can't just put conditioner on dry hair and hope for the best. I really think of hair, to use another visual, as like a sponge. If I took a dry sponge and like dumped a whole bunch of new wash on there, what's going to happen? It's just
Right.
going to sit there and it's going to get crusty and it's going to be gross, but the sponge isn't really going to absorb much of anything, maybe a little. But if the hair is wet, if the sponge is already wet and I put this on there, it's going to start really seeping into that. I mean, do it at home. It's a fun experiment. Hey, science. Like, but it's really going to start to absorb into the sponge. Of course, not all of it, but a lot of it. And that's when you know that like moisturization and hydration really go together. And they are that you cannot have one without the other. You can't keep hair hydrated without moisturizing ingredients, and you can't moisturize the hair without hydration.
It is so good. Oh my God. This is the thing. I could just hang out with y'all all day. Like
I
literally.
think, you know, we need a coffee or a cocktail. It does not matter. It does not matter. But I want to talk about, I do want to talk about quantities
Yes.
before
Yeah.
we're getting
Yeah.
too close to the end because I'm keeping these things in front of me. I have not
Yeah.
forgotten. It's just that there's so much. Are there any other questions that we should answer before we
How
dive
y'all
into quantities?
are you guys feeling are you following along? Are you feeling is it a good journey, a good path for y'all? Any questions before we drive into the amounts, the quantities that we need to tap into? I
I
think we're
think quantity is huge.
yeah, and confusing.
But you know what? It doesn't really have to be because here's what I'll tell people all the time: use more.
Okay.
Nobody wants to hear it because they think that if they use less, that they're saving money, and if they use less, that they will not have weighed down hair,
Mhm.
Or if they use less than when they use like a microfiber towel or a t-shirt to scrunch out any water after they put products in, that they're not wiping more out. They really are worried
Yeah.
about not having about wasting product. They're really worried about wasting product is what it comes down to.
Okay.
So, I don't see a lot of that. And I noticed for myself when I cut down on quantity that maybe I saved money because I didn't use as much product, but my hair did not come out at all like I wanted it to. And it also, because of that, is maybe telling me that it did not get the nutrients that it needed to be
Yeah.
healthier, right? So am I saving money or am I just wasting product and I'm also still not getting the results that I want? So I'll have clients that tell me, well, I don't use my good expensive products on the days that I'm not going to do my hair. And I totally understand and respect that, but I still take my vitamins even if I'm going to be home the next day. Do you know what I mean? So when I use really good products,
Mm,
they're vitamins for my hair. That is nourishing my hair from the outside in kind of thing.
mhm.
And so even if I'm not going to take the time to like style my hair, I'm going to put that shit on my hair and I'm going to scrunch it
Yeah.
in and I'm going to be like, you've had your vitamins today. And then I can live my life in my PJs all day, drinking my coffee, doing whatever the hell I want, knowing
Or
that I've set myself up for success a couple days, a week, a month, a year from now. So,
okay, ding, 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 ding. We have to have a moment because this is the thing.
yeah,
The truth is when you're picking the right things, it is the combination of 2 spaces. It is not just about styling the hair, it is about nourishing the hair. And so if you're thinking only in the style lane, right? Like if you're like, "Oh, well, I'm obviously not going to use that today because I'm not going to do anything with my hair." But the reality is you're not treating your hair so that it's successful over time. And so
yeah,
that's why we want to opt for that. And also I think too like on the reality is this, when you're talking about going 3 days for somebody, that's only going to you're only gonna get to day 3 if you successfully did day 1.
totally. That's big. That's big. Yeah.
So and I think that most people, when they don't like their hair, what do? You grab more product and you put it in. So if on day 2 and day 3, you're trying to make the thing work by adding more stuff to it, then
That that is so crucial because day 2 and day 3 hair, less is more when it comes to styling product because that hair is not wet enough.
Mhm.
It's not the wet sponge. It can't absorb all the things. So the things just float on top. It took me, why did it take me so long to learn that? Like, I want to tell all the wavies and all the wavy hairstylists in the world, like, hey, wash day is where it counts for setting you up for success. Because
Yeah,
when you put those products on your fairly dry or just fairly dampened hair, this is a horrible idea
right.
on refresh day. For the most part, I will say that this undressed, this is a fantastic idea for refresh day, but this different. So this is a terrible idea for refresh day. Any kind of foam, usually a terrible idea for refresh day. Stickyville. So yes, your wash day is where you set yourself up for success. And even if you're only doing that like 1 to 2 times a week,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And that's where you're nourishing your hair and then you're keeping that good stuff in there. And maybe you're adding a little conditioner on top to keep it moisturized because you
Mm.
hydrated it first.
I love it. It's so, so good.
So, so I'm gonna put some quantities in my hand
Yes,
because I think
please,
that's what
please,
people
please,
want
please,
to
'cause I
see.
need to see.
Let's show people what they need to see. Okay, so number one, I'm gonna take some hairball. Now this stuff again is this is about a half of a pump.
Mhm.
This is half of a pump. This is I'm gonna do about 3/4 of a pump. This is my entire head because I don't have a lot of hair. Maybe it looks like I do, but my ponytail is little bitty. She collapses down a whole lot.
Right.
There's not a whole lot there. As my friend Brenda says, she's made of bird feathers. She's made of bird feathers. So for someone that has more hair, you probably maybe need a pump and a half, Maybe
Yep.
you need 2 pumps. I've got one client that I think I use 3 pumps on, and she has more hair than almost anybody I've ever met in my whole life. So this a little bit does go a long way. If you're someone with a really fine hair type, you might use this little baby bit right here, which is like a quarter of a pump. But it's so hard hitting that a little bit goes a really long way. You don't need a lot. And so this little bottle lasts forever and it comes with refills. I mean, it doesn't come with refills, but it comes in refills, which is delightful. That fill this bottle up twice. And what is the shelf life on this? Is
Long
it
ass.
18 months or is it 2 years?
I think it's
It's a
probably
long time.
I'll double check.
Yeah, it's a long time though, because these products last a really long time. So this little bitty bit, here's me with my bird feathers hair. Here's somebody else that has even finer hair than I do. And then here's somebody that has double the amount of hair that I
Yep.
do. Still not a large amount of product because I've seen the creams that you can get from Target and elsewhere, and women just filling up their palms with cream and watching that disappear into the hair. But I also know that's going to build up like massively. And so this is also not going to build up. So you're doing yourself a favor and you're giving yourself all these good vitamins and minerals and nourishing things. It's very, very important. So that's going on wet hair. Okay. Now, this Spiralicious cream gel, I'm just choosing to talk about this one today. I could grab one from Inner Sense or I could grab one from Kevin Murphy. I could grab one from Colton King, but this is kind of my favorite for winter. So I'm just focusing on this one. But in the book, there are other options if you've tried this. And when I say the book, I mean the workbook for dry hair. Um, if you tried this one before and it's not your favorite, man, give it another shot. It's also so budget friendly. So this is a cream gel. So you've got to shake it up a little bit. This is what I used on my hair this morning. I mean, for a cream gel,
Yeah.
does that look like, that's half of my hair. So let's
Mhm.
look at what my entire head would look like. This would be my entire head. And for some people, they're going to look at this and say, that is an enormous amount of gel. And it's truly, truly not. Because remember, that wet sponge can absorb a lot. So for the people that are maybe just listening to this and doing something in the background, this is maybe, I would call this like what? A $50 size worth. Does anybody know what a $50 looks like anymore? Let's call it a nice size strawberry.
Yeah.
That would be kind of what I would give that. Now, for my clients that have double and triple the amount of hair that I do, this would be what I would do on one side of their head. And I would generally say, for application purposes, do a top and do a bottom. Meaning, do the northern hemisphere of your head and do the southern hemisphere of your head. Like, because it's so hard to put that here, and you know you're not getting any here in this middle section, like right behind your ear, the back of your head. And I mean, I see people on YouTube and different places doing very complicated routines where they do a small section, then they brush it through. They do a small section, they brush it through. I commend and applaud their efforts, and I am so impressed by their dedication. I do not have that in me. And I think we all have a level of what we're willing to do in
Yep.
us, and you got to find that for you. What I'm willing to do might be a lot more than somebody else, and I understand that. Truly, though, I wash my hair twice a week. This is what works for me. These are the quantities that work for me. I do a little, maybe, and I don't have a ton of hair, but I'll do maybe a little separate top and bottom sectioning, messy sectioning when it comes to applying products. Do you do that a lot on your clients? Do you find that you need to do a lot of sectioning? How do you
I
how do you
think
approach that?
I think it's so important because I think what happens if you're not sectioning, what I find will happen is this, is you're really only getting kind of the top of everything, meaning if I'm only going through here, then this whole bottom section here is actually not being coated with any product. So
Within here,
then
right behind your ears on the inside, all the way around. You get the underneath and the top. Now,
and
what do you think about like raking product through versus sectioning?
I think it's fine. I think if you want
You
to,
think that can substitute for sectioning?
I think it depends upon the density of your hair. I
I was
think
just thinking that.
that is the reality of it. I think that
Yeah.
everyone's hair is really, really different on those terms. So if you need to get into here and you need that control, I think kind of a quick section. But I think the perfection has to be kind of thrown out the window because I think if you are a perfectionist and you love that thing, and you're like, I'm gonna take this perfect section from right where the ridge falls and like the whole 9 yards. Bless you, because that's the way that you're gonna navigate your life and feel good about it. But I think that
Yeah.
some of those things that we created to make it something proper also allowed for others, just they didn't feel like that they could actually do this. So they were like, oh well, it's not gonna be this thing, so I'm not gonna do this. So
Yes.
if you can
It's
get access,
exhausting.
it's like boom, okay, you know,
Yeah.
excellent, excellent, excellent.
There is a good enough for everything, is what it
Yeah.
comes down to for me. There's a good enough for everything.
And I also think knowing what you're gonna get with that good enough is also the key factor. Does that make sense? Because
Yes.
sometimes I think if you're like, because some people, it's like if they're looking at the left side of your head and they're like, that looks nice, you're like, okay. Like, and if that's your thing, like,
Yes, absolutely. If they're like, "No, this looks great," then absolutely, then do that. But what I would tell you is know that because when I did this today, this actually came out better than I thought that it would, but I had to filter that thought and say, "It's because 'cause I'm usually doing this."
yeah,
And it's because this hair hasn't really been flat ironed, like, in a long time. Like,
sure.
the canvas that I'm working with is already gonna be a little bit healthier.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm not cheating and I'm not saying that your canvas is not as good as my canvas, quote unquote. It's not that at all. It's that I know what I'm working with. I know
Yeah.
what this fabric can do. I know it very, very well. But when my clients come in, I instantly know, and like a new client, especially, I'll be like, "Ah, I didn't use enough product on her hair. It sucked up way more. Because when
Mhm.
we deep condition, it just disappears. It just disappears. When we use new wash, it disappears. I know somebody had asked, how much new wash to use? So I thought I would answer that question really quick. So I grabbed my
How
bottle
much
here.
do you use?
I use a lot. Now I was just watching another hairdresser the other day talking about how she uses less and she incorporates a lot more water. And I think there are a number of ways to do this depending on how squeaky you want the hair to be, how much hair your client has, all of the above. I'll show you what I use on me. Um, and what I use on most of my clients. Honestly, it's pretty consistent, I would say. So for most of my clients, I probably start with one of these. This is one. I usually do about 4 of these. That
Mhm.
sounds like a lot, and these shape, I would call this like a pretty decent sized strawberry, half a kiwi. I don't know, trying to give it a fruit. I don't know. It's so hard. It's so hard. What are you supposed to do?
Good old kiwi.
Half a kiwi.
Um,
Okay, so what this does is this is going to cover my hairline at the front. I'm going to emulsify, so rub my hands together, and this is going to cover my hairline to like the crown of my head. That part in the back where it's usually kind of flat or it changes shape, you know. And then I'm going to take another one of these. And I'm going to lift that hair up in the back and put it right where I want it. What I see, number one, on all of my clients with a lot of hair, on my kid clients, on kids in my own family, is everybody plops the shampoo right here and it somehow does not make it to that back of the head section. And that section always stays a little dirtier. And that's cool. But if you want to have clean hair,
yeah.
then I would say plop another one of these, lift and set it right where you want it. And then you had those two meet. And then I would take probably maybe half of that. So a quarter of a kiwi, two blueberries, I don't know, a small strawberry, and that would go at the nape of the neck and up. So those three sections, the sort of top, back, and then nape, all go to meet each other. And I really work that over the scalp. Now, at this point, you could add a little bit of water. You could really help that grow in your hair and like it'll move around a little bit more. But ultimately, I want the scalp to feel like I've got a mask on it. And
Mhm.
then I would probably take, depending on the length and the density of the hair, another one of these small strawberries, large strawberries of product. This would be number 4, and that's for the lengths of the hair, the long part that hangs down, um, and let that be what they use as their sort of conditioner. And then they clip it up, and I tell everybody bathe, shave, sing a song, sing 2 songs, whatever you do in the shower, don't matter to me, but let it work for at least 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you rinse it out, and I tell them to scrub it out like they scrubbed it in
Mhm.
because it's thick, you know? You can't
Yep.
leave that in your hair. So that's how I do that. And I think I actually demonstrate that if you want to see it. if you want to see me in my shower, which is weird, on the YouTube, it's out there. It's out there to my husband's chagrin. Did you do a shower scene again? Yeah.
You're like, people need to know.
People need to see how it works.
Yeah, it works for sure. Ugh.
So it's happening. So I think quantities are really important.
Yes.
Just to sort of sum up what we've talked about, quantities are super important. Making those product swaps, adding a layer, changing up your cleanser, using a cleansing conditioner instead. Or if you're already using a cleansing conditioner and you notice your hair just feels like it needs a little bit more, I would up it up to something a little bit richer. That New Wash Rich is really good. Those are, I think, the biggest things. Making sure that we're using enough, making sure that we're using the right ones.
Yep.
Those product swaps are really, really important, and making sure that hair is really wet. Hydration and moisture, they go together. Oh, and I didn't even mention, it took me all this time to mention this. I do have a discount code on my
Mm,
class, and I
okay.
know that people can get that discount code on the Hairstory products here. That sweet new client discount, and there is a 15% discount for subscribers. I like it when things show up to my door. I like it when my dog food, when my detergent shows up at
Yep.
my house, and I don't have to think about it. And that includes hair products. That's just me. Um, I have a discount code just for the people listening to this particular class for dry hair. And so the code is dry air 25, and it is 25% off. It's almost $20 off the class for dry hair. So that's just for people listening here. It's a shh. It's not for everybody kind of code. So I want to get this class in the hands of people that are struggling with dry air or dry hair, and they don't know why, and they think that if I use more of this, then my hair is going to be weighed down. You know what? It might be that way, but then I would ask you, was your hair wet enough when you applied those things? And maybe next time use a little bit less. If you overdid it, I'll be shocked and surprised, but I would say you modify those, but start with what you think is too much, because I think you'll really be surprised at how much your hair really can absorb and how much it needs to absorb to be healthy. And once it gets to be healthy, it becomes really, really effortless. And I think that's what people are looking to feel, is fewer products on their shower shelf,
Yeah.
less confusion, less overwhelm. They just know what to do, and they know that most of the time it's going to come out pretty good. And
Yeah.
everybody's going to have a bad hair day every once in a while. So
Sure.
you're a cute hat, girl. Like
Exactly.
whatever. Flip it up.
Exactly.
It's going to happen. But yeah, I think that we just need to understand that just because our hair doesn't have nerve endings doesn't mean that it doesn't need water, and it doesn't need nutrient, it doesn't need nourishment. It needs all those things just like the rest of our body does. So give it that. You'll have great hair days.
I love it. Well, thank you so much.
You, Wes, you're always so great to talk to. You
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 are
have
always
the
so good. You
best.
are like, I really feel like that you really help people really understand their hair, really allow them to navigate it, because that is just the
Thanks.
truth of the situation. I think people learn, and then I think they hit this window of change and they're like, what I've been doing isn't working. And then they get discouraged. So I love that you built this in to kind of help people
Thanks.
understand more about what they need to do when the air is drier. So
Thank you. Thank you for having me on here. Thank you for letting me talk about the products that I love. I know they're not always Hair Story products, but they usually are. Thank you for letting me talk about my classes. I'm trying, mainstream knowledge for wavies does not exist. And I'm
nope.
trying to put that out there, because no teenage girl. I just saw another teenage girl last week needs to be told that she has frizzy hair. It just feels so bad,
No.
And if she wants to blow it out and that's what makes her feel pretty, then by all means do it. This is an accessory. You get to have fun with it. But if you want to wear it wavy, not frizzy,
Yeah.
then you just need to know how. And it doesn't have to be confusing. It can be really easy. It really can be. It's just a different way of thinking about things.
And also I think the thing is like knowledge gives you choice. And that's really what we're trying to like give people. It's not
Totally.
about one hair being right or wrong.
Yeah.
What it is about being knowledgeable enough to say that that's not the only path. It's not that your hair is frizzy. It's that you have to learn the steps to work with its natural state of being and encourage that versus feeling like that you have to kind of blow it dry to get it to the other side. So that's the message
And
is
there are layers, there are degrees of encouragement also. You know, my sister has curlier hair than I do, but she doesn't like to wear it curlier. Okay, so maybe she sprays a little undressed in it and she scrunches it and she's happy with that. That's great, you
which
know?
which before we do hop off on here, someone did ask, when can we use the undressed?
Oh, I
When
love
would
the undressed. So undressed is wonderful for enhancing curl. Like on your wash day, I like to use it halfway through my diffuse drying process. I think it really brings things together, adds curl in areas that are kind of acting a little funky. I understand the science behind why that happens. I'll skip over that this time. We'll save that for another class. But the reason it works is because it just sort of it's got a little salt, it's got a little sugar in it, and not salt, it's got a little sugar in it, and it just makes everything curl up really nice. I love it for refresh also. So spray it on dry hair or damp hair and spray it on and do the same thing. It helps the hair to shrink up a little bit. But if you're somebody who doesn't want you don't want all the definition. I'm like, which side is it again? You don't want all the definition, you don't want all the curl. Undressed by itself is going to get you something more like this that's beachy. And there's nothing wrong with that. So
absolutely.
both are right. Neither
Exactly.
are wrong. It's all about your preference.
I love it. Awesome, my darlings. Well, thank you so much. Take full advantage of everything that Alyson has to offer here. And also, if you have somebody who's out there that is a friend, uh, anybody with wavy hair that you're like, God, I wish they would have known about this. You can take this exact code that you RSVP to and you can send them this link as well. So spread the news, spread the message. We really don't want anybody to feel like, my wavy hair is only frizzy hair, and so I can't ever wear it and I need to just blow it out. So
Yes, help us make the wavy knowledge like mainstream. I want this everywhere. If you're buddies with your hairdresser, send it to your hairdresser pal and be like, dude, hey, like you might really like these.
yeah,
This is free knowledge. Like take it
one
and run. It's 1 hour. Like listen to it in the background while you eat lunch, you know?
1000%. Awesome, y'all. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, and thank you, Wes.
Always. Bye, boo.
How did you like that? Was it informative? Was it interesting? I think there's so many things we can learn about hair, and I also do believe that truthfully, we know most of them deep down. We just need someone to point them out to us so that we can understand our hair better, just like we understand our bodies and how to nourish our bodies, this kingdom that we live in, right? So if we understand the house that we live in, can we also understand the stuff so we can feel really good about ourselves too? So dry air, dry hair, snag that with the discount code dry air 25 so that you can get hydrated hair instead of dry hair. See what I did there? And I will see you in class. See you, baby friend. Have a great hair day.